Okay, so we are at the Homeland Security Digital Library, and we clicked on the threat assessment PDF here, and here it is. Let's get to the top. Okay, this is the threat assessment. How to make it a little smaller. This came out October 2020, and it's got a lot of different threats: cyber threats, foreign influence activity, economic security, terrorism, transnational criminal organizations, illegal immigration, and natural disasters. We're specifically going to go to terrorism on page 17, but first I want to introduce you to the chattest of wolves. This is Chad Wolf, and it says DHS has a vital mission to secure the nation from the many threats we face. This requires the dedication of more than 240,000 employees in positions that range from aviation and border security to emergency response, from cybersecurity analyst to chemical facility inspector. Our duties are wide-ranging and our goal is clear: keep America safe. Okay, so that's what he's going to do. Since this came out in October of 2020, it's pretty dope to think that there were no homeland threats after this. I'm going to scroll through this slowly. Structure of the threat assessment. The Department of Homeland Security is the first and last line of defense against the many threats facing our country. Our ability to mitigate these threats is predicated on our ability to understand them and to inform the American people. The DHS Homeland Threat Assessment, HTA, identifies the primary threats facing the United States of America and inside our border. The assessment draws upon all sources of information and expertise available to the department, including from intelligence, law enforcement, and operational components. Purpose of the HTA is to provide the American people with an overview of the information collected and analyzed by DHS employees around the world and provided to Secretary of Homeland Security, Chad Wolf. Okay, good for you, Chad Wolf. First, we've got the cyber threat. Next, foreign influence activity in the United States. So the threats to the U.S. economic security. Page 17, the terrorist threat to the homeland. Some DVEs and other violent actors might target events related to the 2020 presidential campaign, the election itself, election results, or the post-election period. Such actors could mobilize quickly to threaten or engage in violence. Violence related to government efforts to mitigate the COVID-19 pandemic and amidst otherwise ongoing lawful protests, has exacerbated the typical election season threat environment. Some DVEs have heightened their attention to election or campaign-related activities, candidates' public statements, and policy issues connected to specific candidates. Judging from domestic terrorism plots since 2018, targeting individuals based on their actual or perceived political affiliation. Open-air, publicly accessible parts of physical election infrastructure, such as campaign-associated mass gatherings, polling places, and voter registration events, would be the most likely flashpoints for potential violence. Among DVEs, racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically white supremacist extremists, WSEs, will remain the most persistent and lethal threat to the homeland. Spikes in other DVE threats probably will depend on political or social issues that often mobilize other ideological actors to violence, such as immigration, environment, and policy-related issues. Another motivated force behind domestic terrorism that also poses a threat to the homeland is anti-government, anti-authority violent extremism. These violent extremists, sometimes influenced by anarchist ideology, have been associated with multiple plots and attacks, which include a significant uptick in violence against law enforcement and government symbols in 2020. This ideology is also exploited by hostile nation states, which seek to promote through disinformation campaigns and sow additional chaos and discord across American society. Anti-government and/or anti-authority violent extremists are likely to be emboldened by a perceived success exploiting otherwise peaceful protest movements and concealing their violent tactics. These violent extremists are increasingly taking advantage of large protest crowds to conduct violent against American officials, facilities, and counter-protests. We also remain particularly concerned about the impacts of COVID-19, where anti-government and anti-authority violent extremists could be motivated to conduct attacks in response to perceived infringements of liberties and government overreach, as all levels of government seek to limit the spread of the coronavirus that has caused a worldwide pandemic. Anti-government, anti-authority violence are likely to be emboldened by a perceived success exploiting otherwise peaceful protest movements and concealing violent tactics. These violent extremists are increasingly taking advantage of large protest crowds to conduct violence against government officials, facilities, and counter-protesters. Here we have the Department of Homeland Security saying We've had a couple really shitty years, and people are infiltrating us based on perceived or actual threats. There are groups that are infiltrating peaceful protests, and we should probably look out for that. And then January 6th happens. And they said, whoa, 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 whoa. And then they helped this woman up. This is a... Just real quick, let me show you what they showed us yesterday. Live on TV. There she is, the beautiful of the brave. But I do think that it's worth it to see what they played for us, or for the American people on prime time, what the rest of the video would have shown. And it's so stupid. I cannot believe they started day one. Shit, here it is. Okay. So this is what they showed us. Let's watch it again. That's what they showed us. Let's see what happened in this video. So that's the part that they didn't show us. They didn't show us the part where when she fell, everyone said, whoa, 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 stop. You don't hear the part where they say, there's a lady down, there's a lady down. You don't see any of these cops punching people in the video that they showed us here. Let's watch it again. The whole point is to say in October of 2020, months before they had to fortify the election, they came out with this. This October 2020 is when it was printed and published. That means that for months and months and months and months, for the whole entire year, I mean, they have 18 and 19 statistics in here. So from 18, 19, and 20, for 3 years, they were looking at exactly what happened. They were looking at if they built worst case scenario, it would have been J6. It would have been people coming to the Capitol, infiltrating peaceful protests, assuming that the government was against them, pissed off because of what they saw as infringement coming out of the SARS-CoV-2 debacle. And they didn't even put up a fence. There wasn't even a fence. In Portland, when they were attacking in empty courthouses, they put up fences. They put up fences, and all of the freaking blue hairs were like, oh my God, they're going to protect the building's life. Oh my God, look at this. And then January 6th comes around and they're like, protect the building. What's it called? The People's House? Fuck that. Protect the building. It's ridiculous. It's so brain on crack. This is on primetime TV. But yeah, I really wanted to just read this and ask why If they knew that there were threats, if they knew that this was even a tiny, tiny possibility, why would they let it happen? In retrospect and say, these are things that, that we draw a line at. Well, why did you wait for the crowds to show up? Why did you, all of that, why did you wait? I said it in 2016 when Trump won. I think they jumped the shark. I think they're using old media tactics. I think they're using their legacy ways against an enemy who has, we have the internet, we have something else, and they have not yet done to us what they've done to China and North Korea. We have access to the information as much as they want to hide it and call it false and hide it behind fact checkers. It doesn't matter. We talk a lot about evil, and the core to all of the negativity is absolutely evil. But there's also goodness that is operating at the exact same time. We don't have the good without the evil, and we don't have the evil without the good. So what we can see is the evil, because this is the world, and this is Satan's playground. This is what he was left with. He has nothing. There's nothing after this. There is no eternity. All he has is this. So what he wants to do while he's here is rob us of our eternity. He wants this to be it, because this is it for him. If God didn't want COVID, we wouldn't have had COVID. If God didn't want J6, we wouldn't have had J6. There is nothing outside of God's control. There's nothing that he's looking down and is surprised about. As a believer, I hear so much, Jesus, come back. Please, Lord, Jesus, come back. This then is what you're praying for. This violence, this hatred, this division is what you're praying for, because that's what brings Jesus back. Jesus has been here. He's been here. He gave us love. He gave us rest. He gave us himself. That's it. We have rest. We have peace that surpasses all understanding. And it ramps the darkness, it ramps up and it ramps up and it ramps up, and it gets darker and darker and darker. And the reason that Jesus comes back at the very end, riding his white horse, the reason that the blood will run so deep that it touches the horse's bridle is not because he's coming back to a perfectly good, loving world. It's because the cries from our cities has gone up so much that he can't ignore it anymore. So if you want Jesus to come, if you're really praying for Jesus to come, then please know that you're also praying for it to get much worse than the world, much worse. He can save without coming back. So here we are. Battle for the soul of our nation is happening on television. How weird. So I think that that's it.